Hi there, I'm Ahsan Ali Shaw, and you're watching me on YouTube and Facebook Live. Today we are going to talk about how to create your own reality, or you are the creator of your own reality. It may seem a bit catchy, cliche, and it is absolutely true, in my view, because we choose to experience things. If we could change the definition of our perception, then the reality would change. It is like going to the gift shop and you choose something and uh, you choose a gift, and the result of the gift, you are unaware of the consequences. Or a simple way, it all starts with the mindset, and the mindset would change your mood, and change in the mood would impact your behavior, and the change in attitude and behavior would compel you to take repetitive actions, and those repetitive actions would would ultimately change the reality. It starts with the mindset, with the mood, behavior, and those repetitive actions and their reality. These are the linking dots connecting the vision and imagination with the reality. And that's what we are going to discuss today. And my guest is Paul. Let me introduce you to him. Hey, Paul, how are you?
Thank you. I'm doing good.
Okay, how do you pronounce your name?
Um, it's difficult. Hardly any English-speaking people can pronounce it properly, but
Okay,
it's Paul.
is Paul?
Strange Paul.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I'm saying Paul is not the exact pronunciation of
Okay.
in yes. Okay, is Paul
Paul. Yes. Well, just use
with the
Paul. It doesn't really matter. It's the same name.
okay,
Uh,
A-
yeah.
and uh, and complete name, how you pronounce it?
Pall Heimir Einarsson. The whole name.
Pall Heimir Einarsson.
Einarsson. Yes.
Okay. See how pronounce it. It's a Park is with the K sound at the end.
Yeah, it's sort of like a double D and L in it. It's a very strange sort of pronunciation.
Hmm. It's not exactly D or K. It's a mixture of D or K.
It is, yeah.
Okay. Okay. I'm gonna stick with Paul.
Oh, yes, I think that would be wise.
Okay. So how do you approach this? How to create your own reality, or you are the creator of your own reality? How do you approach this topic?
Well, I like many people that need to express. I mean, who are actually doing
Mhm.
some research into any sort of existential thing. You need to dig into your own past. And I I often tell this story about when I was 5 years old. I was standing on this peninsula on that small island I was born and brought up on. And my mother took me to the southern end of that small island, and we saw up north. We saw the mainland of Iceland, and I asked her, "Is this Iceland, mother?" And she said, "Yes. But over here to the south
Mhm.
is a much bigger and more interesting world."
Mhm.
I turned and I looked. There was nothing there, just the ocean and the horizon. And I just stared at the horizon. And by doing this, she was presenting me with the possibilities of, my future, if you like. she was very ambitious in having me learn different languages and explore, new countries and all sorts of things. And when you're, creating your own reality is, I often trace my reality, my present day reality, to those moments in my childhood where I was being introduced to things that I had no way of knowing except through my parents, and I built on that.
Mhm. I was just reading an example, and it was about that you are a child and at a very small, and then you grow up and you become big, and it's a process of change that your reality keeps on changing the way
Mm,
you experiencing things. You experience things differently as a child, and the same thing you experience it differently as an adult. As a child, a child experiencing things differently. It's a definition. It's a view of the world that we have attached to those experiences. And when we change the definition of those experiences, then it started changing. Earlier, I used the example of gift shop. You visit a gift shop and you buy a gift, and how the other person would perceive the gift is different, and you are unaware of it because the receiver of the gift or the perceiver of the gift,
mm,
his view of the world and his experiencing thing is different when you give it to him, and you don't know his reaction and the way he is going to respond. And I think that's where if he likes it, okay, you have bought a good perfect gift. If he doesn't
mhm,
like it, the other person doesn't like it, okay, and there will be some different type of reactions. But
mm.
it's like the way you are experiencing things is like a gift. You choose to experience things, and that's how your reality would change. And if you choose a good experience, if you choose to experience things, if you attach good definitions to the things, then the reality is different. So for instance, a person is rich and his view of the world is good, is perfect. People are kind to him, people are treating him with respect and giving him all the benefits of the doubt,
Mhm,
and all the luxuries of the life. On the other hand, the same person, his friend, or any person on the planet who has the same intellectual capabilities, has the same
mhm,
qualities, but he is not rich. So he is seeing his view of the world is completely different. Is because of his experiencing things they're different. And yeah, I
mm.
don't know if I'm making any sense or not. His worldview is the worldview of a rich person is good because he choose to experiencing uh, thing in a good way.
Yes.
His reality is perfect. The reality of the poor person is different because he is focusing on the negative side of the thing, so
Hmm.
his reality is different. And there are many poor people and their life is perfect and they are happy with it, is because they are focusing on the positive side of it.
I suspect also that whether you're
Hmm.
rich or poor,
Hmm.
by creating your own reality, and
Hmm.
I am tempted to
Hmm.
think
Hmm.
that if your mindset is set on widening your horizon, you will succeed in doing that, even if you are poor, you cannot travel to the places you're reading about or you've heard about. You're still going to have that as part of your reality through nowadays, obviously, the internet. So I think, as you said, about the mindset, if it's there, if the will to include different places, even though you can't visit them, if you're willing to include that in your reality, you're going to have that. I mean, when I was a teenager and we had escaped the volcanic eruption when I was 15 in the small islands, and we lived in Reykjavik, and it wasn't a choice. We just had to do it and make the best of it. But obviously, we didn't have any money to travel. But my sister and I remember that we sort of had this um, interesting things in the weekends. We had lunch together, and we decided to speak Norwegian. We had no means of traveling, but
Mm-hmm.
to
It,
compensate that, we,
mm-hmm.
we, we pretended we were in Norway eating lunch in
Mm-hmm.
Oslo.
Mm-hmm.
So this is how strong our
Mm-hmm.
determination to have sort of something else than just where you are. It's
Mm-hmm.
probably for a form of escapism as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's got all sorts of labels on it, but
Mm-hmm.
at the end of the day, it's a reality you create, whether it's to survive or just to keep the dream alive. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I think the example as I use of a rich person and a poor person is to show the experiencing of things, and it doesn't mean the reality of the poor person. And there are two types of poor person. One is choosing to experiencing the positive side of it. Then his life would start to change because
Mm,
he choosing to experience uh, a good side of it.
mm,
Then his view of the world and his reality would change. And the other person, or who is choosing to focus on the negative side of things
ah,
and the negative aspect, the miseries of life, and it's a cycle, and it continues. And that's what I think. That's how when you start negative things, then negative results would happen, and it's like a chain reaction. You are just caught up in the web of negativity or of miseries, I would say. But when negative, good, bad things are happening to you, and you are thinking negative, and it's just a cycle, just keeps on happening. And I had similar experience,
mm,
and the circumstances here in Punjab, Pakistan, are very bad. in in Pakistan, the unemployment rate is very high,
yes.
and I remained unemployed for about 3 or 4 years, and and during that period, I was thinking, about I was being rejected and running after from here to there, talking to people, and everywhere all the answers that I received, they were about no, and they were changing my reality. My perception was became negative, and I was very much in a negative state of mind. And my result was also, the perception was giving me the bad results because I was thinking about the negativity, the way
Mm,
I was thinking about it, and my reality was also, I was going out with friends, but I was not enjoying their company
ah,
because I choose uh, uh, to stay. I choose to experience the way I wanted to experience,
mm-hmm,
and My company, my friends are still the same. I visit the same places now, but I choose to experience differently. I'm happy now. And my view of the world is different.
Yes. Yeah.
Mhm,
And also we mature, so it's
mhm,
part of it is that what we actually learn from life.
mhm,
I
mhm.
know it sounds like a cliche, but it
Okay,
really isn't. Because if
okay,
you keep an
okay.
open mind,
Paul, I'm gonna put you on screen for a second, and then I'll be in a second. I'll be back. Okay, okay,
right?
okay, okay. Continue, please. I apologize for.
No problem.
Okay, here. Okay, I'm back.
Right.
Okay, okay. What were you going to say?
No, it's just it's so interesting what you're pointing out that it's the
Hmm.
mindset. It's the but I'm just thinking back if we are taught a certain mindset
Hmm.
through our upbringing, do you think
Hmm.
that might have something to do with it?
Hmm.
Is it learnt? Is it acquired through some sort of messages that we get from our parents or the
Hmm.
environment, do you think?
I think there are many things. There's an example. I was watching a video on Facebook. It
Yeah.
was a short video that when we are born, we are like a glass water, a glass a
Yeah.
glass and a crystal clear water in it. When we are born, we are just like crystal clear water in the glass. It's a transparent. We are
Yeah.
completely, but the life is not the same for everyone. And it's like you start pouring the dust or the mud into the glass. What's happened when you put dust or mud into the glass? The water will become muddy, and it won't remain transparent. And
Mm,
the same thing happens with us, that we all born like crystal clear water in the glass and completely transparent. The life experiences are the mark, and they change our reality, they change our worldview, and they change our perception. And when the perception is changed, and but okay, the next part is cleaning the water. And how are you going to clean this water? A glass crystal clear water in it, but the when you pour mud in it and it become muddy,
mm,
it won't remain transparent. And how much water do you need to make it clear, to make it transparent again?
mhm.
Because you have to pour a lot of water into it. It's like,
Yeah.
yes, you have to, or you have to keep on pouring water. It's like a positive thoughts, and those positive thoughts every time. It's not like just like you remain positive for a day, and you change your perception for a day and expect the result the next day. It's not going to happen in one day. It takes years, and it takes a lot of time to uh, to to start receiving the results.
Mm,
Hmm.
mm.
I think it answers your question. You asked that our circumstances in which we are born in, and
Yes. Yeah.
they impact our reality. And there are very few people, and they choose to experience things, and they keep their imagination open. They don't just stuck in the web of miseries and in the situation, because the circumstances in which we are born, in which we are living in, and those circumstances are variables. They keep on changing. Whether you are feeling good or bad, it's not gonna stay the same forever. It would change. These are the variables in life, and those variables, they would change your reality.
Mm.
And if you start your perception with those variables, if you stuck in the situation, then those variables are keep on changing. So your perception, your worldview, your mindset shouldn't focus on the variables. They should be focused on the bigger picture of the reality that you want to create. If you want to create a positive, then you focus on your imagination of the goodness. And those variables, these are temporary. They they would change.
Mm. I suspect also that,
Mhm,
well, I can only judge from my own experience,
mhm,
but I maybe I'm not the right person to express this, but
mhm,
I always felt a bit apart from others.
mhm,
I never liked being a child.
mhm,
Like when I was a very young baby, if you like, I was supposed to gabble, like mama, dada, and all that bullshit. And I never spoke child language because I didn't like it.
mhm,
So when I finally spoke, I
mhm,
said to my father when I was 3.5, could you
mhm,
pass me the butter, please?
mhm,
So it didn't. And this is, I think we have our own mind pretty early, earlier than we think we have. So, and I was never very, I was not very a sociable kid or a child. I didn't really like other children. I wanted to mingle with grown-ups that had something to tell me and guide me and teach me.
mhm,
And even when I was a teenager, I didn't get the joke about being a teenager. It was the most awful time in my life, waiting to become an adult.
mhm,
There was another thing that I saw that was one of those choices, and obviously I was a bit of a spoiled brat, being
mhm,
able to travel. But when I reached 20 and I had been studying French, I
mhm,
totally disregarded the Scandinavian countries because I wanted to widen my horizon. I
mhm,
spoke Danish fluently. So people said, why don't you go to Denmark, to Copenhagen? It's a
mhm,
nice city. And I said, yes, it was the city of my childhood and my teenage life. But then I grew
mhm,
up and I became an adult. And I chose
mhm.
Paris as my city of,
Dreams. Mhm,
exploring different culture, different
mhm,
viewpoints, different
mhm,
language again.
mhm,
So I've always had my own, and when other people went to Spain or Portugal, I went for 10 days to Paris, France,
mhm,
just alone to
mhm,
fend off, to be able to fend off and fend for myself in a city of 10 million people without
mhm,
any Icelandic person around me.
mhm,
This is how I did it because I chose to do it.
mhm. And it all started with the dream, with the vision, and with the mindset.
Totally. It was my
Mhm,
choice. That was very
mhm,
important for me.
mhm,
It was my choice to stop going to Denmark and go to Paris now. I
mhm,
had grown up.
mhm,
I had different,
mhm.
yeah, I wanted to
You,
expand.
mhm. And my point is, it all started with an experience, with an imagination, with a mindset that changed your reality.
Mhm. Yes. And this topic of, what we do to create our own reality. I seem to have
Mm-hmm.
been doing that all my life
Mm-hmm.
because I
I
was always doing different things that others didn't do, you know.
mm-hmm. Mhm. I wanted to, I had a great interest in the videos, and now I am making videos. And earlier, I started making videos in 2013. 2013, I was around about 20, 23, 24, I think I was at that age. And when I first saw myself on the camera after finishing the recording of the video, then I felt good. I thought that I can be good more than I kept on making videos.
Hmm.
And I'm doing live now. Last year, a friend of mine, I was in a group. There were people making videos, and I was in the company of uh, the live, the live streaming videos. Those people,
Yeah.
and it, it, there, I wanted to do this, but and I didn't have the courage to take the first step. The first step is always difficult of doing anything
Yes.
when you are going abroad, the first step is going to the other country, how the other culture and the other person other people would react for their language, language barrier, and how would
Mm,
I be perceived, and how would they look at me, and these are different sides of imagination and the thing you have it in your mind, and we all have it. And the first step when you take it, and it feels like it was nothing, and 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 the change, the cycle of change, and the cycle of the new experiences, it
mm.
just it starts. And the same thing happened with the live video. In the live videos, earlier 2 or 3 videos, they weren't very good, but they were the learning experience. I was there. I'm not gonna say they were not good. I was learning it. I was learning something
Of
different,
course. Of
and
course.
we are doing it right now. And
Okay. But
we
you created that reality for yourself, didn't you?
yes, mm, uh, it all started with me with the vision that I wanted to do this. And
Exactly.
yes,
It's so
and
important. It's so
yeah,
important.
mm,
It's a
that
choice. You take
yeah,
the plunge. You're aware that you're not perfect from day
hmm
one,
hmm
but you take the leap anyway.
yes, and this it's all starts with the imagination. You have to keep your mind open in order to change your reality. It's not going to happen one day. It's a consistent process, one building block after the other. And all of these, you have to connect different hundreds of dots to make sense, to create the whole picture. The picture
Yeah,
we see is not one picture; is a tiny pixel, millions of pixels, and they create the whole picture. Just like
yeah,
what we are doing it right now, they are. Uh, it's not just it's billions of pixels and millions of pictures, and they are just compact, and they are creating our reality.
yeah.
Mhm.
Yes.
Uh, so, what are your final thoughts on on this topic?
Well, when I started to prepare, well, my take on this is basically how we create our realities
Mhm,
based on our own character.
mhm,
I'm amazed how early on even children decide, and they're pretty set in their ways. And I also experienced it with my two nephews when I was babysitting my nephews. I almost, I mean, from quite early on, I saw they were quite different. Even though they were brothers, they were totally different. Well, not totally, but they certainly have their own character from very early on. The older one was very specific. He had to have everything accurate and straight to the point. And but the younger one was more laid back, but had sort of different aspirations. And so I've been able to do my own research in how we are shaped and how much how big a part of our character or yeah our choices is really something that we're born with. I'm pretty amazed how you know we are formed into those individuals that have pretty fixed ideas of what they really want out of life.
Mhm. As a child.
As almost from the character more than from the situation, because I think even though you cannot travel a lot, you can travel in your mind.
Mhm.
I mean,
Uh,
at least when I was a young man, I didn't have the internet, but I had books and magazines and papers, and I could do a lot of research through that, through
mhm.
just acquiring papers. And I was quite determined to get those infos, either from
Mhm.
Denmark or England or France or wherever, because I
Mhm.
was I was determined
Mhm.
to learn more about certain topics to
Mhm.
create my own reality out of that, basically.
Mhm.
And what I wanted to spend my how I want to spend my free time. Obviously, I had to work to make a living, but my free time, my summer breaks, whatever, I was pretty sure how I wanted to spend them. It
Mhm.
wasn't like how other people spent it.
Mhm.
So
So your reality, you created the vision, and you created your own reality
I
from
did.
reading those books and from the material that was available to you.
Yeah.
And it starts with the imagination, and those imagination and ideas became the reality. So in other words, you created your own reality. And
I,
I did the same with creating my own reality. And you are the creator of your own reality. I think we have covered enough. We have used many examples from our personal experiences, and I was reading some articles, and they were using about the different psychological and other scientific terms, and I thought to use a personal touch to this topic, how to create your own reality, and I presented, and we both have presented this topic, and from our own personal experiences,
hmm,
and if you have any question, guys, just leave it in the comment box below. I'll answer it to you, or Paul would get back to you as soon as he can. And thank you, Paul, for your time. Thank you, Paul, for joining us from the Iceland. You are the first Icelander that I'm speaking to, and it was a great pleasure. And I'll see
so
you. We'll talk some other time. Have a
we
good
will.
day, good afternoon, good night, wherever you are.
Thank you.